Good morning, guys. How's it going? It's Clicks here, and now I'm back with my second ever YouTube video. Now, right now, this video is gonna be a quick field fighting tutorial. As I said in my last video, we just got out of KVK, and everyone in that KVK asked me how I traded so well. I traded at about 2.5 to 1, and honestly, it could have been a lot higher. However, in downtime, I was swarming rallies, and swarming rallies just never goes well. You're never gonna trade positive doing it. So yeah, that kind of cooked my trades. But the two main things I tell everyone here, let me get my marches out here so I can show all of you guys this. The biggest change that has come to field fighting in terms of Rise of Kingdoms has been stacking. Now, what is stacking? Let me show you guys an example of stacking. So say if here in the field, I'm currently on MacBook, so I'm not on my PC, and on MacBook, unfortunately, left click does not work, or else you can left click around and you can stack your marches and control them. So I here have to drag and drop, which is considerably harder to do. Now, stacking your marches is like this, where all your marches stack on top. Even if I zoom out, as you can see, they're all stacked on top of each other. What this does is, say if I'm hitting a barb here. Oh, okay, I'm out of AP. Let me see if I hit a barb here, and now I stack my marches. What this stops is it stops my marches from fanning out and going into the enemy murder ball. Now, the way the ROK system works for attacking marches is simple. Your marches will automatically attack the last 5 marches you hit, whether that be by AoE, whether that be by regular hit. Basically, there's two types of damages in the game. There's normal damage and there's counterattack damage. Normal damage will be to the target you're hitting. So say if I'm over here and I hit this barb. Me directly hitting this barb is normal damage, as I'll show you in a second. So right now I'm dealing normal damage. Now say if I go over here and I hit this barb as well. Now, let me show you guys. Let me get over there. Let me stop this. See, as my march is looking at here, it's doing normal damage, this march, and it's going to do counterattack, aka AoE damage to this march. So normal damage here, counterattack, AoE damage here. Why this is important? This means that say if I leave combat, so say if I don't hit them, even if I'm marching away, both those enemies will hit me. I stop, and I'll automatically hit both the enemies again. In a murder ball, once you make contact with an enemy, you stack your marches and you pull them slightly back into the murder ball. What that does is the game automatically remembers the last 5 marches you hit with your normal damage and your counterattack / AoE damage, and your game will automatically attack them for you. How there, all I did was move my march, and my march automatically engaged back in combat with those 2 marches, and I didn't select them. So when I'm in a murder ball, see if I make contact. So let me march down here to this barb. I march down, say I stack, and I make contact. Okay, so I hit a march, and then I retreat back, like this. I retreat back, I stack my marches. Now watch this. It comes to me, and my marches automatically started hitting the barb. Like, yeah, like some will stop, and that's fine. That means you just do it again. But as you can see, my marches automatically hit it, and they don't move. Now, in a murder ball where the marches are going back and forth, when you stack your marches, they will stay still, exactly where you stack them. And when the enemy moves back, they'll stop attacking. When that enemy moves forward, they'll start attacking again. Automatically, you don't have to touch your screen. And it'll be the 5. So, say if you're doing normal damage to 1, that guy runs away, but then you do AoE damage to another guy. Now your marches start doing normal damage to that person and counterattack damage to others. That way, you're always hitting marches through AoE. That's why AoE is so important in field. That's why you always want at least one AoE commander in your marches. The second thing is where to stack, because you don't want to be too far back where your marches leave combat. Because yeah, if your marches leave combat, 1, you rage drop, and 2, that list of the last 5 people you attacked gets erased. Because if you rage drop, building rage back up is so much harder, because while you're trying to build rage, the enemy ball is going to be hitting you with active skills, and that's what's going to ruin your trades. So you never want to rage drop, you never want to leave combat. And the mistake I see a lot of people doing with stacking is that they attack, And then they run way far back. They go all the way back to the end of their murder ball, and they just keep running. They stack back here, and they'll just keep running back, and they stack, and then like just like that, they raise you up. Their streak ends, and they lose everything pretty much. What you want to do is here. Let me zoom in more. Let me see where it shows. See that circle around your marches? You want that circle, the outer side, so the outer side of that circle to be at the front of your murder ball. That's how let me show you. That's how I'll calculate it. So let me stack my marches here. Let me show you guys this. Here, let me just turn on quick command so I can show you how much easier it is with quick command. Boom. What you want is, you see if you're in the murder ball, the front line of the murder ball should be right here. And then you should be stacking right behind the front line. And you always have to keep a lookout. See if you're getting pushed, you have to slightly push back, restack. So the front of the murder ball should always be right there. And that'll always allow you to stay in combat. Now, the next thing I would like to talk about is the stages of combat. And what I mean by that is, in my opinion, the stages of combat is how you get in combat, how you move in combat, and how you exit combat for good trades, for positive trades. Now, getting in combat is the engage. See, if you move around, you don't want to engage the enemy when they're pushing your murder ball. That means if the enemy murder ball is right here and they're pushing your murder ball, you don't want to go and attack them then, because everyone that already has rage is running back. And so the enemy's already rage loaded, your ball is running back, and if you try and engage when you're getting pushed, your marches are going to get decimated. What you ideally want to wait for the engage is when your murder ball is pushing or it's at a dead still, it's even. You never want to engage the enemy when you are losing, when you're getting pushed. Now, always the murder ball, will always be one side is going to be winning, the other side will refresh, and the other side will win. And so that's when you want to fight, is when you are either pushing or at a standstill. Now, after you engaged, you want to make sure you move well in the murder ball. You don't want to let your armies fan out. You don't want to push your enemies into the enemy murder ball. You want to stack. You want to stack slightly behind the front line and do massive amounts of damage to the enemy. I can show you guys some of my reports. Yeah, I don't even favorite reports. I rarely do. And like you guys can see them, the trades are really nuts. These are all altar reports. All of them are altar. So this was me running it down to side face, and even at side face, I'm still trading 7-1, 8-1, 10-1, more than that, like 11-1. Oh well, this is actually, never mind. That's not an actual report from KBK. So yeah, the engage, and then the movement in the ball of how you stack and how you move when you stack. Now the third thing is the exit. Now, this is when you're fighting for trades. This is if your co-leader says fight for trades, like you're field fighting, and you want to leave when your marches are on yellow. When your marches go below yellow, it means when you do normal damage to a target or counterattack damage, you're actually taking more damage if you're not hitting them with the AoE skill. The way you're taking more damage is because the enemy troop just has more amount of troops in it. So when you attack them, you actually end up taking more damage and trade negative. So if you're trying to go for well for trades, as soon as your marches hit 50%, which is about halfway in yellow, so that would be like right about there, you'd want to retreat. The only time you want to absolutely run it down is when there is an objective. If we're trying to rally a flag, burn a flag, a fort, pass. If there is a marker that says push, that means you run it down. And I actually run all my marches down to side face and still trade very positive. Because if you fight well in the murder ball, it doesn't matter if you go to side face, because you will still trade really well. Because you're going to be doing so much skill damage that your normal damage and counter damage won't matter. You're going to pop so many active skills that normal damage and counterattack damage just won't matter with the number of troops you have. But yeah, this is my quick little tutorial to field fighting. So just to recap on everything, you want to stack. You want to, the way that my marches are right now, you want to, like I'm using quick command because I said I'm on MacBook, and for some reason on MacBook left click doesn't work. By the way, you can also stack on mobile. On mobile, the way you do it is if your marches are fanned out. Here, let me show you guys. If your marches fan out, you want to grab from the end, drag and drop into the middle. So grab the end march, drag and drop it into the middle. Just like that, your marches sign up. It's not perfect, you might have one out, but the majority of them will stack. So that is my field fighting. So you want to stack, and then you engage. Make sure you engage when your ball is pushing or it's dead even. Make sure you're always in combat. You never exit combat. If you see that you're stacked and you're not actually, your rage bar isn't going up, go again and go attack the enemy marches again to get a new target to hit. And then once again, come back and stack your marches and you'll start building rage again, because you never want to leave combat. I cannot stress that enough. Being in combat all the time is the best thing. And the last thing is retreating on yellow if you're trying to get good trades. But yeah, guys, this is my quick little just tutorial to field fighting. Once I hit 50 subscribers, I will start streaming. I will start streaming ARCs, and then I will obviously start streaming KVKs. And in KVKs, you guys can truly see how I am fighting. Now, our KVK, we will queue on April 27th, so that means we have about 1 month to get me to 50 subscribers, and I will start streaming all my fights, and you guys can see exactly how I fight in a murder ball. Alright guys, ciao. Thank you so much.